Good morning. Well, it's morning here, and it's near the end of June, and my daily journal is almost finished. Here it is right here, and as you can see, it's pretty full. So I'm almost, love this little pouch for my pens and things. My good friend Anna gave that to me. It's time for a new book. It's got a few little bumps and bruises, and it's cracking along the spine and splitting a little bit, but honestly, I just think it makes it more beautiful to see the wear and know how many times I've opened this book up, how many places it's traveled with me, all those kinds of things. I do have it already on my blog post in a format where I have taken pictures and walked you through it step by step. That's how I made this book. But today I'm going to try and do a video. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it all in one session or if I'm going to break it into parts because it takes a while. But the first thing I'm going to do is just open up my new moleskin, because I do really love this particular book. I also have a blog post on that from way back when. And I'm just going to take this out. So this is the journal itself, and it is a soft leather cover, and this one is lined. You can also get them with the squares in it, which is pretty cool for a journal as well. And the thing I love best about it is the elastic is really sturdy and holds the book together, as you can see here. And I've got daily journals that are quite a bit fatter than that one, so and it has an envelope in the back. And this is also handy because sometimes I'll put mementos in, especially when I'm traveling, or a photo that I don't want to cut up, or something that is, and it'll fit in here, and then when I go back through the journal I can find it. What I find with this journal is if I'm trying to remember something like the name of a restaurant or someplace we've been, and I can't pull it out of my fuzzy brain, I can remember about the time of year and I can go to my journal and locate it there. So the first thing I do with the journal before I begin anything is I take some painter's tape and I wrap it around the edges on the inside, because I don't like, the gesso leaks in and can leak in actually into the pages. And though that's okay too, and when I first started, I didn't do any of this, and the longer I go, the more I do, because I don't like that on the inside. I just don't care for that look. It just looks kind of unfinished somehow. So I'm going to spend some time and cover this, and I will video it as I'm working here, and I don't think I'll do much talking. I'll just do the work. Okay, there you go. My book is protected from the gesso and the paints as much as possible. And when I pull this off, it may tear up a little bit of the paper, but then it's just texture on texture, so it's not as obvious as big gloops of paint or gesso on the inside. So I seem to be able to live with that better. So there you go. That's how you prepare your journal. And the next step will be putting it on the gesso. Talk to you then. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm back and I'm ready, and I'm using Liquitex acrylic gesso, and you can pick this up in any craft shop. So I'm using that, and I put some onto this little paper plate. I'm adding a pretty liberal coating of gesso to this book. Do not use a good brush for gesso. Rinse it off after and use it the next time. It's just a cheapie and it works really great. So. Go and have a look and get my materials ready for the next part, which is what am I going to put on this thing and what colors am I going to use. And I have so much ephemera, I have to narrow it down to just a few pieces to use. That's always a challenge for me. So I'll see you in a bit after this dries and we'll go on to the next part of our journey together. Bye. Hi, I'm back again and my journal's dry. I'm leaving my painter's tape on here, and I've been scrounging around looking for some ephemera to use, and this first layer of ephemera will go before I paint. So not much of it is going to really it'll show through the paint, but it's not going to be the main event. It just adds extra interest to the piece and some depth. So these are some of the things that I've chosen, just bits and pieces I have kicking around from other projects, bits of tissue and parchment paper. This is fabulous stuff when it shows through in the through the work. I've got some little bits and just junk really. And I like to choose from this. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to go on here. I'm just going to start working. I'm going to be using Mod Podge, and I'll also be using exactly the same brush that I used with the gesso. So, and I work right out of the jar because, I don't know, it just seems easiest to me. So I'm going to start, and I hope you, just follow your instincts. And there's nothing that can happen that's going to be the wrong thing. I always recommend to double check and make sure that you've got the book upright, even when you're starting to do this, because I have got a couple of journals that are upside down. And I did them and I used them just like that, but I would rather have not have. So, okay, away we go. And I'm going to start just now. And I might talk, I might not. We'll see where this takes me. Okay. So I Mod Podge the back. I've used, you can also use matte medium for this. This is actually the first time I've used Mod Podge, but I've been doing quite a bit of things with Laurie Marie Jenkins, and she's a huge fan of this Mod Podge. And honestly, I've never used it before, and I quite like it. So we're going to be using it today. I'm sure it'll work quite well. I try not to stick to any kind of a clear pattern or plan. And I also like to do some things that go across the spine of the book from one side to the other. And there we go. Should fit in there really well. Had a little interruption there. My hubby, my good man, showed up, so got that organized, and I'm back at it. Old ledger paper is really fabulous for this kind of work. Really important to put the glue on both sides because it helps with the rippling. You don't see quite as much rippling if you do it like this. So you do see some, and I really don't sweat that too much because it just adds a little more interest to the piece. I'm not striving for perfection. I'm just, I'm kind of working from the heart. So I just trust that it's going to, in the long run, the end of it, it'll be perfect for what I'm looking for right now. And I think if we move that way, that works for me. So, And I think that's probably because I certainly didn't used to work that way when I was younger, but I'm older and I'm a little beat up, and I think I get it a little bit more now. All right, and I'm just going to put some words on here. Scotland, I love it there. Okay, and whoops, didn't do the back. And let's see, there's Chaucer, that's pretty cool. Now, this may or may not show up when I finish my piece. It's hard to say. But I can also, you know, if I find words I like, I often will work around them, because that's also a lot of fun to find something that fits for where you're at in your life right now. And like, here's great pleasure. Now, how super is that? Okay, I'm going to make sure that one's got a... I work on balance, you know, like I look to see where I put my pieces and try and not put all my printed pieces together or in too predictable a fashion if I can. And this just came from some experimenting I was doing with the jelly plate and stencils and things. So it's got a really great iridescent thing going on. I don't imagine that's going to show through on with the paint, but it might somewhere. So I have a couple pieces here, so I'm going to put another piece of this down here, just so I get that balanced look. And I think probably this one will carry over to both sides, so I get another piece going on along the spine. So that requires a little more, sorry for the arm in front of the camera, a little more gesso. So I make sure I get down into that. I'll see, that one's not quite sealed in there. Okay, I'm going to pick that up. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just going to cut it with my nail. There we go. Got it now. So if you don't make, if this isn't sealed in here properly, what's going to happen is it will lift up later once the book starts, you know, you start using the book. So I try to make sure that I have, especially the pieces on the spine, laid down really well. You can see the wrinkles forming. I just put a little saliva on my finger, push them down a little if I can, and someplace else with no glue on the back. Okay. What else have I got here? I like words. I like to write words. There's a book on there. I love to read. I love to write. I like poetry and all that stuff. So I usually have quite a number of chunks of words on here. I don't like that there. Yeah, that looks great there. Okay. This is a fun piece too. This is just again, just me goofing around when I was trying to figure out my, oh gosh, I've forgotten the name of it. I know you're shouting it at me now from wherever you are. Thank you for that. Okay, there we go. So I'm getting a little extra texture here. And putting it with the bumpy side out. Will look really neat later when I start adding the paint. Sometimes I do it one side and sometimes the other. I try to make sure too that I've incorporated, you know, both sides of where the elastic is. I want it to look like it's all kind of really an organic process. So this is cool because you can see yeah, that's going to be really cool. Okay, I think I'll do it this way so I can read them. There we go. Okay, what else have I got here? And more of this. Yes, the more you get on here, the trickier it becomes, because then you have things that you don't really want to cover up. And also, I work right off the book, because then afterwards I just trim it once it dries. And yeah, that's a cool shape. You can see how this is bubbling up. So I'm just taking my finger and trying to push the bubbles out. There we go. If you wet your finger first, then it doesn't stick to you. I didn't get the back completely glued. And because I didn't get the back completely glued, there's air pockets. Yeah, that's cool. And they don't show up until it starts to dry. So you think you've done a great job, and then you look and you can say, oh my gosh, how did I do that? That's how you did that. All right, I think I'm going to stop for a while. And maybe a little bit more of this. I'm a sucker for clocks. Okay, we'll do a little bit more of this. Yeah, down here, so it sort of looks like it's part of this piece. Yeah, very cool. Kind of overlap it. Okay, all right, I'm going to have a little stop now, let this dry, and I'm thinking about adding some photographs. I'm just not sure if I'm going to add them now or if I'm going to wait and do it a little bit later. So I'll see you in a bit, and yeah, take care. All right, I'm dry. And Mod Podge is on. I added a few more things after the camera shut off, which is often the case for me, because I'll have a look and think, oh yeah, this could be used here, this could be used here. So anyway, this is where I'm leaving it now. And I went and chose some colors, and it's a Mod Podge of colors, haha. But I want to move into... I like using dark blues. I just want to see how this works. I'm a little leery about the brown, and I'm going to work really hard not to let things get too muddy. So that means when I start with a color, I'll maybe let it dry a little bit before I add anything else. I like a little bit of blending, but I've got to be really careful that it doesn't get muddy. So this is too many colors. Normally I just work with 3, but I'm going to give it a different kind of a shot today, and we'll see how this goes. And the other thing that I like to have close by is a few wet ones. That way I can wipe areas where I think if there's something I really want to see more of, I can get the paint off. So that's kind of cool how that works. For example, I'm going to just take out the rhythms there and let that show a little bit more. And yeah. I like to start with the light colors and move to the dark, because that way I have a little bit more control. If I start with dark and I'm not happy with it, I have no place to go, because it's pretty hard to wipe that off. I like romantic too. Let's see if I can get some of that off. No, too late. Okay, so we're gonna go now. I think I'm going to try a little bit of this blue, Mediterranean blue, and see how that works on here. That's pretty. Yeah, I like that a lot. I could work a little bit of that into the spine. You can see there we go, looks good. More some in there. There we go. Yeah, doesn't that look cool? I'm going to drag it down. See how it picks up the texture, rolls right through it. Okay, a little bit down in this area. And yeah, well, I'm happy with this. Let's see what happens next. You know, it can go from great to like, oh my God, what am I doing, to, oh, this is turning out okay, to, you know, like I'm all over the map with this. And there is quite a bit of trust in trying to just know at the end of the day, even if it doesn't turn out anything like you expect, it's a gift. So it's going to be good. I am wetting the brush down in between each one and cleaning it a bit so that I'm not getting a lot of color transfer on the brush. So yeah, it's pretty. Well, it looks like a sky or something, doesn't it? Beautiful. Okay. I should be double checking to make sure I'm still on the screen. I have a tendency to travel with this stuff and then I end up, because I can't go back and do this again. Okay, there we go. Down in through here. Not pretty. Maybe a little bit along the edge. And some about here. Okay, looking good, looking good. All right. Now I'm going to try a little of this dark blue. And I'm just going to work on whoops. There we go. Painting things that shouldn't be painted. If you let the purple dry a bit, you're not going to get brown, which is what happens with these colors if you don't give them a little space to settle in before you add another one. And I have some pretty brown books, so I learned by doing. Just careful there to take off a little around the Scotland. And I'm going to do the darker along the edges because it also draws the eye in and just gives the book a more kind of weathered feel. And I really like that a lot. I'll also be using some pastel crayons later to add to that effect. I learned to do this following Effie Wild. I'll have her website on the screen. I can't connect to the post where I did this with her because I think it was in a class. But of course, I've adapted it over time, and you kind of end up like you start off watching somebody else, and then the work, you know, becomes your own over time. But I'm really grateful to her for, you know, giving me the tools to start working. So a big thank you to her. Okay. Now what? Dare I try a little brown? I'm going to just put in a little tiny bit and see what happens because I don't want it to turn into a mud fest. Okay, let's see what happens. Just a little tiny bit. Covered up my great pleasure again. There we go. And a little bit down in here. Maybe up in through here. Yeah, it's not great, is it? Okay, I may not be doing too much of this. I want the book to look, you know, weathered and like I just didn't do it 5 minutes ago. So along the spine, some of this might be really nice along the spine. See, I've got a little break there and I'm going to have trouble later with that, so we're just going to cut it. And I got a crack there too. Oh well, that's where the light gets in, right? Okay. Again, this is just an underlayer. I'm going to be doing a lot more things on here before I'm done. So I'm just going to keep playing. And ever been to the shoe swap? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful there. Revelstoke up through the mountains here. It's just, it's a good day drive from here, but it is beautiful country. So Like most of the things I do, I try and incorporate pieces that have some kind of personal connection to me. I use this book every day, so I like to add things that, you know, call to me. A little more dark blue, I think. Right in there. And I think up in here. Maybe along this line along here, so I get a little more texture there. Excuse me, and then a little bit here. Yeah, I like the darkness of it, gives it depth. Okay. Sometimes I'm really glad you can't see what I'm doing on this side of the screen, because when I'm doing these videos, all kinds of strange things happen. Like I forget to put it on, I use my phone. I forget to put it on airplane mode, and then messages come through, and I didn't plug it in, so the battery died in the last one. So it's just a bit of a gong show, but you won't see most of that. Any of that, I hope. Anyway, so normally I do, before I add the paint, I do a little stenciling, and I didn't do it today, so I'm gonna do it now, because there are no wrong ways of doing this. So I use molding paste. Let me get this stuff out so you can see it better. There's the molding paste that I use. Any of them are fine. And I have this little spatula that I ordered online. I got a set of 3 of them. I really, really quite like them for applying the molding paste. So I think what I'm going to do with the molding paste today is I'm going to try and do a little mesh work first, just really fine mesh work, and then once it dries, I'm going to use this lettering to do my initials and probably the year, and we'll see how that goes. So at the end of the day, that'll all show up. So I just work right out of the jar, and I decide where I want this to go. I lean it down. Now the trick with this is you got to keep it flat and don't let it pick up until you're ready to pick. Otherwise you get quite a mess. So we're just going to try this and see how that works. Okay, I'm not putting it everywhere, just in spots, kind of like the beehive look. Honeycomb, I guess it's called, right? And I just lift it up. Well, that's really heavy. Too heavy. So where is my little wipe? I'm going to try that again. Yes, too much of a good thing. Okay, off I go. Going to give it another shot. Boy, you're getting to see it all today. Okay, we're going to just try a little tiny bit up in the corner. Yeah, that's better. And a little shot down here. Yeah, that's even better than that one. Okay, try it over here. Bit here. Some are just too heavy. Here's the other nice thing about it is that you can, scrape it off and take your spatula and just get rid of some if you don't like it. There. And this is going to come off on the page, so that's okay, but I'm going to take that piece off there. Yeah. Sometimes as the more I work, the worse it gets. Okay. Okay, and maybe just, I don't want to put anything in the center here, so I think I'm going to put a little bit here. Use this rib section. This is tricky because it's going to want to move. I've lightened up on how much gesso I'm using, or molding paste. That'll help too. Yeah, that's better. That's much better. Then maybe I'll carry some down through this way so that we get a continuity going. Oh yeah, I'm getting the hang of this. Took me, oh, hilarious. Okay, maybe a little bit up here. Less is more with this particular stencil. Oh yeah, see, I'm gonna try that again with this one. That's even better. I don't like it so heavy. Let's try that. Yep. Scrape it till it's scraped, just catching on the edge. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's better, that's better. See, that's the thing with this is that, you know, you just keep experimenting, and yeah, that's cool now. I just didn't like it so thick. Maybe one right here at that corner. Ah, that's a cool one. Finally figured it out. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry, and when it's dry, I'm going to come back and do the rest of the stenciling. That's the trick with stenciling. You have to let it, if you're doing layers of it or using more than one stencil, if you happen to touch any of this while it's still wet, you're going to end up with a murky mess. So it's important to let it dry before you do the next little bit. So I'm going to help it along with my heat gun, and I'll be with you in a sec. And I think now we're going to try and do the initialing. I am going to put the initial, I think, right here. This is tricky. Actually, I'm just going to show you the first one, and then I'm going to do them off camera and come back, because I'm going to put an L and then a P. And of course, I'm going to have to stop in between and let the L dry and then put the P on. All this work that nobody knows you do just to get perfection. Okay, so here I go. Here goes an L. I should have used a smaller spatula. This is tricky in here. There we go. Can I get enough in there to make it worth its while? Okay. Scrape. And if I have any extra, you know, that shows up from one of the other letters, I can just take it off. Okay, there's my L. Okay, I'll let that dry. So I'll finish this up and I'll see you soon. Bye. Okay, I'm just at the end of my stenciling. That the initials and the year has dried, and I'm just adding a few little shots of this. Not too much, just a teeny bit here and a teeny bit there. Yeah, and I'm done. And just a little bit of a heads up, when you use molding paste or your stencils with any kind of product, make sure that you clean your stencils right away, because if you don't, you end up with a cruddy mess that you cannot, your stencils basically are ruined because of the amount of layers of stuff that's on them. So make sure you do that and clean up your you know, your spatula before it hardens. And yeah. Okay, I'm going to add a little more paint to this because I'm feeling, or maybe some stain, I'm feeling like I need more depth. I'm just going to give this a little time to dry. All right, see you in a bit. Well, I added some more bits and pieces of molding paste, and then I took some yellow and just finger smudged it in, and now I'm going to just do the same thing with a little of the blue, because it just doesn't feel to me like this has enough vibrancy for some reason. There's too much white. I'm not sure what it is. Now I'm also just doing this with my finger and dabbing my finger in some water and then moving it around, so I get you know, a softer look, and it fits into some of the spaces where it wouldn't go if it's too thick. I'm just coming over here now. Whoops. This paint's quite dry, so I have to be a little careful here. Too much. Yeah, I think it's the white I don't like. Okay, I'm going to try some of the blue now. Oh, maybe the purple. Sometimes it's only your fingers that you need, you know? Yeah, I'm going to cover up some of the white. Don't care for that. For some reason, it's not working for me today. There we go. Down through here. And here, that's giving it a little more. I'm going to try a little of the purple blue. I am a real sucker for blue, and usually orange. I'm trying not to put any orange on this today because I kind of repeat myself a lot. You see how it catches on the molding paste and does some really, really interesting things with it. Yeah, that's coming along a little better. Get rid of the white. Round of pictures and words and little bits of ephemera and some ephemera, some embellishments actually, not ephemera, that will pick up and enhance some of the sections of the book. So this is a labor of love, and yeah, a little bit more down here too. Get rid of that white. Don't like it. Okay, that's better. Okay, we'll see. And I'm just going to pull the pictures out, and here's a couple to start with. It's my two sweethearts many, many years ago, and this is me many, many years ago, both going on this book. So we'll see you soon. I'll get the rest of them ready. Well, I'm back, and I'm going to tell you it's starting to look like something exploded in this room. There's stuff everywhere, and that's how this creative process works, isn't it? So I've come across some things that felt right for me for my journal. So I found some sayings I really like and some pictures that really called to me, and this is what I'm going to use. So I've taken a couple of photographs. This is me. I mean, it looks like, yeah, it's a long time ago. Anyway, I'm smelling a flower at my grandmother's house, and that brings back lots of wonderful memories. So, and this is a picture of my kids who, you know, are still always babies to me, no matter the age. And then there's other things here that I have a real attachment to, giraffes, and they often show up somewhere in my work. And so I found that, which I thought also was really nice. There's something about nurturing going on here. And I love this about being centered. I have a little guy in Kenya that I'm supporting, and I just got a message from him. So a little envelope with his picture and what he's up to. So this is the stuff I'm going to be putting on, and I'm going to be using some Mod Podge to do it. I'll tell you that I have sort of a, oops, oh Lord, it is bad in here. Okay, we quit wiggling. Yeah, okay. So I have a book, a tub that I keep words in. And I pull from that. I set and work through that. So some of this stuff will be going back in here when I'm finished. I also have something for really, really small bits and pieces of words. And I didn't get anything from there today. But anyway, so I'm going to start doing some gluing. And I'm back to my old my old brush and my Mod Podge. And I hope I'm centered. I think I am. And away we go. I'm sure I'm going to speed this up if I can. I printed these just with my regular jet ink printer at home, so I'm going to be careful with the front to make sure that I don't move the print around, you know. Be careful with that. Well, so far so good. They're sticking on. Aren't they the cutest? Now they have children, and I'm a grandma. They call me Ammy, short for Grammy. Nobody could say the G off the bat, so it ended up Ammy, and I really like it. Okay, so there we go. We got those little duffers are down, I think. Awesome. Okay, I'll be back. Doing this project is all about creating layers. I did the gesso, and then I did some underpants or paper scraps, and then I did the painting and the stenciling, and then I started adding some more words, and adding a little bit more paint and some pictures, and now I'm just going to add another layer that's some stickers, more of a sticker idea, and a few stamps, and this is how it works. And I never know when I begin what I'm going to end up, never ever. And these are rub-ons. These are fun, really fun. At least I think they're fun. So this one I got on a clearance sale. I think it's from Kaiser Craft. I'm just going to put a little birdie sitting on top of those words. You got to keep rubbing till it's all gray. And that means you've got to be careful not to rub anything else, or you get funny little bits stuck on your book someplace, you know, from other parts on the rub-ons, which is also okay, but I'd rather that didn't happen. Okay, let's see how this works. Hey, little bird. Not great. That's okay. All right, let's try. I'll try one more. I'm going to try this branch of birds down here. Textures too, there's too much underneath it. I think that's what's going on. But when I put the self-leveling gel on, it really accentuates all these sorts of hidden bits, and they'll show where you can't see them that well right now. Oh, my neighbor's home on the big bike. Oh, I guess he's leaving. Okay. Yeah, this is probably not going to be that great an idea. Well, that's not too bad. That's kind of cool. All right, and then I've got a couple of words. That was from a Kaiser Craft, and would probably be beautiful on a smoother surface. I should have done it maybe a little earlier in the game, but then I probably would have rubbed over them with color. So then I had a look at this, and there's some nice sayings on this as well. So I'm going to pull a couple of things from this. Daylight Dreams I really like. I think I'll put that right here. Maybe under my kids. No, what about right here? Yeah. There we go. Okay, and Be Happy. Anything else? Like, it doesn't really matter, you know, I can just go and go. I could cover this whole... That actually, these are from Tim Holtz, and they are called clipping stickers. So, another fun thing. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of stamping. Yeah, I'm going to stamp too. Oh, give it a shot and see. I'm not the best stamper. I don't seem to have enough patience for this. Oh yeah, okay. There we go. Whoops, got the kid. Well, that's nice. Okay. That's a little bit too, I wish that, yeah, okay. Okay, I think I'm done. Okay, the oil pastels, look at these poor beat up things. You can tell they're well loved. This is the Holborn oil pastels, really nice texture and things. And what I do with this, yeah, there's such a mess in here. I don't have room to work. How are you doing for being centered? Okay, is I just rub it along the edges, and then I mush it in with my fingers, and it just makes the surface look like an old leather book that's been worn and carried and treasured for a long time. This color is dark brown, and sometimes I do it around the words as well, just to give them a little depth and to take away some of the hard edges from the paper. Be a good human being. We need more of that in the world right now, let me tell you. Okay, we do. All right, so, all right, and around here, you see how it creates depth? Isn't that pretty? And you just keep rubbing. Darn, I wish I hadn't got her face quite so badly there. Darn, she's such a cutie pie too. Okay, and here. You see how the stencils underneath, made from the molding paste, just grab onto that pastel, oil pastel, and the textures just are really great. Yeah, this is starting to really come together. Very happy with this. And I have moments when I'm not. So as I move through it, and it's pretty well the same kind of feeling every time I make a book. A little while back I was thinking, why is it not turning out when I'm doing it for an audience? Because that's a different kind of thing too, and you're doing it for someone else to see. Okay, now I'm going to go around and down the spine, because you know the spine is often quite worn in a book. I've got a crack there already, so it's going to be quite a dandy by the time the book's done. Isn't that cool? Yeah, I got a blister coming. This is where I'm sitting now. You know, looking okay, looking kind of murky, but it's not. In a minute, it's going to look wonderful. I'm going to just choose a couple of things from my treasure box here to create a little bit of, oh, just another layer. Just another layer. Well, I think I'm finished. I put on some embellishments. I actually went and reprinted this picture of the kids, and I just cut it down to fit and glued it right on top of the other. I'm quite happy with how that looks, and their dear little faces are a little bit clearer. I added a few embellishments, little lock, and there's a key over here with a jewel in it. And then I just wasn't feeling I don't know, it just didn't seem to be coming together. So I actually took some champagne gold on my finger and just started rubbing it around, and I really liked how that turned out. So it seems to have given it a little bit more cohesiveness. So, and again, I don't know if you can see the textures at all. Maybe I'll pull a little closer. Can you see that? Like the texture, it really gets highlighted with the with that champagne gold on it. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. All right, so last thing I do, the magic. This is, I call this the magic, and this is self-leveling gel, which is an amazing product. I am very clear on that. I love this stuff. And what it does is it puts a clear plastic coating on top of your finished book and protects it. And it keeps, you know, the embellishments in place. And yeah, I just think it's a terrific stuff. So I'm going to put this on, and then I will be finished, and I can try and clean this mess up. I'll return when I have when it's dry, and I will take all the tape off, and we'll have a look at how the book turned out. Don't have to worry about this stuff. It goes on a little bit creamy, but it dries clear. So just make sure you get it into all the little nooks and crannies. And if it you know, if you've got a little too much someplace, that's okay, because when it's clear, when it dries clears, and you cannot really tell where it was thicker and where it was thinner. So yeah, see how that makes the pictures pop? The little faces pop out. You know, and as I'm working on it, I can see all the levels. I can see some of the original stenciling. I can see a little bit of the stamping. I can see the pictures that I used on the very base, or the bits of ephemera I used at the very beginning, my scrap paper. And yeah, there's lots of levels to it, lots of levels. I had quite a time sticking this jewel on this key, so I hope it's... I've never had one pop off, you know. In all the places I've taken these books and all the situations I've been in with them, squeezed into travel bags and all kinds of things, if I, touch wood, never had any of the embellishments come off. So, okay, that's coat number one. You don't have to watch me do this twice. I'll be back when I'm ready to show you the book all finished. So here's my book, all done, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Self-leveling gel did a great job, and it feels very sturdy and secure, and nothing's going to be moving off of it. You can see the embellishments I added. I put in a lock. I put the little locket around the little girl's head. There's a little star up in here. I did another copy of that same print and put it over top, and I'm happy with that because I can see the kids' faces. There's a lovely bit of a clock in here. And on the back, I've got, you know, this little thing with my current age, and you can just see everything. So this will take me to the end of December, and then I'll be ready to go again. So thanks for joining me today. I really appreciated you being here. And if you have any questions or comments, I'm very happy to answer them, or any suggestions. I am always wanting to learn new things and new approaches. You can find me on my blog at timeofmylife.com, and I've got lots of different posts there. Been working on it since last October, so I'm getting quite a collection. And yeah, my name's Lynn Parker. I'm really glad you came here today. Have a great one. Talk to you soon. Bye.